In the previous video, I spoke about the tools I regret buying in Leathercraft. In this video, I'm going to share the tools I don't regret buying. Let's begin. The first tool I don't regret buying is the Spatulas. Now, this is going to be one of the first tools you get, and it's going to be with you through thick and thin. Now, the Spatula has a variety of different purposes. You can use it for tracing around patterns, marking holes, marking stitch holes, and even using it for edge paint. No matter if you're a hobbyist or a full-time leathercrafter, this tool is vital. The next tool is a utility knife. And again, this tool is going to be with you through thick and thin. The good thing about the utility knife is it can cut through thin and thick leather. What you should get is one where the blade is secure and doesn't wobble as you use it. This one here is actually my dad's, and so I didn't actually buy this tool. The blades are replaceable and you can also strop them when you use them. The downside to a utility knife is it can't go around tight corners. Instead, what you can actually use is a precision knife or a flat blade skiving knife to cut around corners. But regardless of that, this is actually a great tool to have. The flat blade skiving knife, the paring knife, and the French edger. And I haven't spoken about the French edger. Now, you've already heard me say about how much I like the flat blade skiving knife and the paring knife, and should I go over it once again? But again, paring knife is remarkable. You can get lower angle skives because you don't have that wooden handle getting in the way. So I highly recommend one of these. With these three tools, it's better to need them and not have them than have them and not need it than need them and not have it. The flat blade skiving knife is great for using as a regular knife and skiving, and also you can use it for cutting around corners, and yeah, this is actually a good option for cutting around corners. The only downside is, of course, is the handle, but yeah, that's just what you get with a skiving knife. I haven't spoken about the French edger. Now, this tool in particular is actually quite an interesting looking tool. It's pretty much a very more simpler way to skive, but you can still skive with this, but it won't be as good compared to the skiving knife and the paring knife. They are just a lot more precise, but you can still use this though. This is also great on longer skives. So if you want to actually, for example, doing a tea pocket, you can actually use the French edger. All these can be stropped as well, and with these, I recommend you getting high quality ones. Don't get low quality ones because if they're blunt, it's just going to be dangerous. So what I recommend is with these three tools, get high quality ones. The next tool is actually a tool that I only recently got, and that is the Rotary Cutter. Now, I've seen this for some time and only recently have got one, and it's remarkable. It's great for cutting out patterns, cutting out your leather. One thing I do like is that the safety on it is actually pretty simple, and it doesn't show too much of the blade, because that is a lot of blade. So only showing a little bit is actually good. Now, I prefer to hold the blade like this when I cut, only because I don't really like the feel of it when I hold it, like that. And also I found that it's much more easy to hold the blade straight as you cut, because you don't want to obviously be on an angle, as opposed to like that. It's quite difficult. But anyway, that's what I prefer. Watch out for your fingers. Make sure your fingers are placed in the middle of the ruler when using this. The only downside to this tool is I probably wouldn't use it on very thick leather. So for example, when I'm doing my trim allowance, I probably just wouldn't use it. I just don't feel comfortable with going through very thick leather for this. But for cutting out patterns, leather, yeah, so cutting out your leather to begin with is fine. I just wouldn't cut out very thick leather. But yeah, let me know in the comments how far you can use this. Because I just assume that would be better on more thinner. But yeah, just let me know in the comment section. Get a high quality edge beveler. So whatever you do, just get a nice high quality edge beveler. It's going to be easier to work with. Your work's going to be a lot more nicer. It's going to feel a lot more nicer as you use it. So yeah, high quality edge bevelers, I highly recommend them. Get them, etc. The only downside is that they are a bit more expensive, but it's worth it. Now I'm going to talk about the pricking irons that I got. I have these little ones. The good thing about these pricking irons is, one, they're going to be with you through thick and thin, and two, I'm actually surprised I haven't broken these. But these smaller sizes are actually much more cheaper than the normal sizes. Pricking irons can get expensive, and yeah, there's a lot out there. It took a bit to get used to, but I've had them for years, and yeah, like I said, I'm very surprised that I have not broken these teeth yet. I'll list on the screen right now what I recommend. There are a bunch of different sizes. These are the sizes that I have. I have the 9 SPI, 9 SPI is just something that I prefer. You don't have to go buy one. I want to get some 3mm ones, but these are the ones I've had for years. And yeah, pricking irons are expensive. The ones I am looking at currently are very expensive. So yeah, just with pricking irons, just get high quality ones. The refillable marker. Now this is another tool that you should get, because if you use a wool dobber, a Q-tip, the problem with those is as you use them, you lose dye. And that means that if you're dyeing a longer piece of leather, for example, a belt, you can have streak marks. And I have found that because I used a Q-tip and there were streaks all through it. So what you can use instead is a refillable marker. Now the refillable marker is remarkable because you have a reservoir of dye. And as you use the refillable marker, you have a constant flow of dye. So that's remarkable. The next tool I recommend is some spatulas. Now spatulas are awesome because you can use a paintbrush to apply adhesive onto your leather. But the problem is, a paintbrush, you obviously have to remove that adhesive from the paintbrush. And with a paintbrush, if there's any residue remaining in the brush, and most likely there will be, because you probably will not be able to completely remove all the adhesive, and when that brush dries, it's going to stiffen up. What you can use instead is a spatula. Now these are cool because these are plastic, and what makes that so good is that water-based adhesive, if you're using water-based adhesive, doesn't bond to plastic. That means you can remove the adhesive. When it's still wet, you can just simply use a paper towel, but when it dries, what you can do is just simply get some crepe rubber and remove it, and you can reuse this over and over again. The last and final tool is crepe rubber. Now, why would you get some crepe rubber for? Such a funny little thing. Crepe rubber is awesome because you know when you're using adhesive and then you manage to get adhesive on the leather surface and then it dries and you're wondering, how can I remove this adhesive? What you can do instead is actually get some crepe rubber and actually rub the crepe rubber again on the leather, and it can remove the adhesive or the edge paint. Now be careful, because some leathers, this will actually take off the grain. I have found that with one particular leather, but most of the time it's actually pretty good. But just test on a scrap piece first, because you don't want to be obviously damaging the leather. But this little piece here is awesome. I highly recommend getting crepe rubber. The only thing is that it does get a bit dirty, as you can see, but you can simply just like pull the pieces off and then just throw them off. But yeah, crepe rubber is awesome. That's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section what tool you don't regret buying. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to enjoy your leather crafting.